Hello, good morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you watch this. Today is, what day is it? September 13th, Monday, September 13th. And this is the guided planning that I've put together for the week. And I hope that it's of service to you. My intention with all of this is to help you get grounded with where you're at, get clear on where you want to go, and put into existence, or what I like to call putting it into existence, so that it happens. Because there's a whole world for us that if it's not in existence, if we don't see it, if we don't have it be remembered, it's not going to happen. And I shared a recent TikTok on the concept of habits, that I want to do it and then I remember to do it. And so really, I don't like the word habits. It's very triggering for me. It's really, what do you want in life? And it's about wanting it and remembering it that makes the difference. So that's the intention of this call. And we did just finish up the Monday Magic call with people that were there. I am not recording that part. So if you do want to join live, be sure you're in my Facebook group and check the link for that to join live on Mondays at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you're unable to join live, I'm recording these prompts so that you can follow them there or follow after. And then live, we get to talk through these. And then we kind of started in the direction of this. We started and then we ended up going in some different directions. And so I'll share a couple components of what I pulled out of those conversations. But really, that's what I like to create on Mondays, is this world of where are you at and what would make a difference for where you're headed. And so know that I'm sharing these prompts, but my intention and heart is that it's a conversation and getting to create together, compared to fill out these answers and that everything is perfect and magical and everything's whatever. It's really of working through what shows up. And so again, if you complete this and you're in my Facebook group, like sharing what shows up too, if you have anything, because that would be of service to the community, of course, and want to be a service to you, because that it doesn't mean this is the solution. It just shows that it's going to produce some things that we get to chat and create around. So I'm going to start, and the intention with these questions are one-dimensional, which that looks like either a yes or no, or a 1 to 10 scale. And then from there, what I find is that once you get connected to the one dimension, the rest of the world shows up. An example for me is if someone, I think that when my husband shows up or comes home from the end of the day and is like, how was your day? My brain's like, I don't know. But if he's like, hey, I think the idea I shared with him last week was the concept of like, does it work if you were like, is there anything you want to share? And that's a yes or no question. And then I can be like, yes, there is. And then I see it and then I run and then I can go in the other directions. If then I have something to pull from. So that one-dimensional questions can really make a difference. So that's my intention here. There's some that aren't, but I'll try my best. And if you get stopped or stuck, know that is it a question you want to ask, or is that kind of stepping it back? One dimension can be of service. So play around with that. So first section is this 1 to 10 scale of a few questions. So what you can do is I'm going to give you some words, and then I want you to rate it on a 1 to 10 scale. And I'll try to put together a PDF that follows this so you can fill that out there. So the first question is, and actually the graph, my intention is to put it on a thing. Hopefully I have the time. I'm not sure what my day is going to look like, but the intention is to put on there. So it's going to look down. We're going to have some words. So I'm actually going to give them to you: space, grace, enjoyment, pressure. And then across the top is present, past, future. So the first question is, how much space do you feel like you have on a 1 to 10 scale? Present, past, and future. Then how much grace do you feel like you have? This is for yourself too, not just everyone else. This is how much grace you have for yourself. Present, past, future. And then enjoyment. What is your level of enjoyment or interest in this current season? First one. The level of enjoyment you've had in the past, and the level of enjoyment you can see and envision into the future. And then the last one is, how much pressure do you feel like you have currently, that you had in the past, and that you had in the future? So the intention with this question, and why I'm asking this, is that you make sense. The degree of space that you have is the degree of very much your experience of life. Too much space can be problematic because then you kind of float in it. Not enough space, you feel trapped and burdened by it. And so it's really finding that right amount of space. So know that if you're on either that all or nothing spectrum, and I didn't say how to scale it or rate it, but one, you you pick the rating 1 to 10. 1 can be small and 10 can be a lot, or however it shows up for you rating. Know the degree makes sense. So are you in an all or nothing? And then being able to do that. Same in the space of grace. If you have little grace and either a lot or a little space, like what that look like? And then what does it look like of what's standing in the way from that being able to give grace? Often when we don't understand, something I like to say too, a friend seeks to understand. If we're not able to give space and grace, we often are not being a friend to ourselves. So how can we give grace and provide that? Enjoyment. Our level of ADHD symptoms are in relation to our enjoyment rating. So the more enjoyment you have, the less symptoms. The less enjoyment, the more symptoms. So know that you make sense and your rating will project that or portray that as well. And then pressure. We don't work well in pressure. How do we go through life? All the pressure. So what does it look like to be aware of the pressure? And something we created on the call was this concept of pausing muting the or hitting the brutal button, like the muting the brutal voice in the head. That we think if we push through and are brutal to ourselves, which is often subconscious programming that's really defaulted there from TPN, DMN network, from subconscious being told a bazillion more negative messages as a child as we grow up with ADHD. Also lack of dopamine. We think that this is kind of how we treat ourselves. So know that the pressure makes sense. And also the pressure will again have a relation of no pressure. We kind of float in space. And so it's finding the right amount of pressure that feels good, that has you move forward, but not so much pressure that you're trapped. So it's very much this kind of Goldilocks mentality of too hot, too cold, no, just the right amount. So what I want to do is serving this exercise is something that can be done at other times. And also just knowing that you make sense and this being kind of a thermometer of taking the temperature. And let's shift from being a thermometer. We've taken the temperature. Now let's become a thermostat and set the temperature. So that's the next stage. And so what I want to do is we're going to actually set that aside. I just created that and I want to play with that at the end. But for what I want to do right now is work on getting all the things up here that we were not made to store in our brain down into existence on paper or on a computer, wherever you're putting this, the concept of getting it into existence, whatever that looks like for you, whatever format you works. And the first question is that I would say one-dimensionally is, do you know, or do you have a way to document this, to capture this? What works for you? Or do you know what works for you when it comes to this? And if the answer is no, that is not a problem. We're not here. There are no problems, which can sound a little idealistic. And also it's reality. There are no problems. We are in discovery and we're discovering what works. We put standards and expectations on ourselves that we should have it already all figured out. Nope, we don't. And that's okay. It's not a problem. So what does it look like to discover? One thing that you can do is ask the question, what has worked in the past? What is something I could try in the current and into the future? And then giving it a test. Does this work for me? What doesn't? And then getting feedback. So for this week, you could pause it or wherever you're at, pick what works, what you want to try to see if it works for you. This is your discovery for the week. I'll actually share what I'm doing now that I say that too. A little aside, I wanted to create this in a different way. I'm using note cards. So I took this off, I had this. I'm doing these note cards. I live by this, like, now I am, fill in the blank. It always leads me to action and being present, which is something that's a gift for me. I have a bunch of my, like who I am and want to be in the world. And then I actually did this inspired by a story my friend Ben told me yesterday. So now I have that. And then this is now I am, and then in existence is the things for the week. And that is what I'm doing. That's working for me. So that's an idea. I can share more on this of interest. And that's my current, what I'm trying this week to see if it works. If it works for you, I really like these index cards. I've been using them and having them clipped together. Serving me this week, I posted a video in the Facebook group on where I was inspired by on that. I'm loving it. So that's an idea, run with it if you wish. And wherever you end up doing this, I'm going to ask 3 questions, and I want you to just take a moment to write out what comes to mind. I would say I'm going to say it and pause it if that works, because I want you to have the space and time to get stuff out, to kind of like, what's all up there? I don't know. So The first question is, do I know what I need to do? Yes or no? You don't have to write that down. That's just to get us grounded and be able to step into the next question. And then I want you to write what comes into mind. The quicker the trigger, I feel like almost not the better, because there's no assessment of better. It's just trust those triggers, trust what comes to mind, trust what shows up, and write it down. Even if you're like, oh, that was wrong, I don't know, but just like what shows up, like gut reaction, what shows up. I need to ... I need to fill in the blank. So you're going to have that gut level reaction, capture that, and then take a moment, pause if you need to, and write out anything else that you need to do. The next question is, I have to. What shows up instantaneously? Take a moment and then write out, pause, and write out what you have to do. And then I want to. Take a moment to write out all that you want to. I'm going to pause real quick because I have to send a message. I don't have to, but I'm going to. Sorry about that. Okay, so next, what I want you to do is go through and, actually no, this is what I'm doing next. Sorry about that. I can't probably cut this out, but bear with me there. You are going to look at the list and consider this. You only can do what you're authentically interested in. Need and have to will have pressure. And unless it lives in your I can do that bucket and you desire, you won't be able to do it. And so what does it look like to shift all of the things that are in I need to and I have to into I want to? So that's an exercise to play around with. What does it look like? What does it look like to shift that? Now, what I want you to have you do is score. After you get everything into the I can do or I want to bucket, I want you to score it on 1 to 3. If it is what I call ADHD secret sauce: simple, easy, and fun. And sometimes that can be triggering, but simple, I want to say that simple just means it's interesting. Little ADHD symptoms, there's actual authentic interest. Simple, you shows up as like, this is simple, feels good, I'm not overwhelmed. Simple. Easy, it lives in the I can do that bucket. That's 2. And 3 is fun. So you're going to score it if it falls in, if it's 1, 2, or all 3. So you pick how many fit that bucket, I guess, if that makes sense. So you want to, so the ratings is a 1, 2, or all 3. So if it has 1, simple, easy, or fun. If it has simple and easy, then it's a 2. If it has simple, easy, and fun, all 3 of them, then it's a 3. So that's the one way to look at that. Hopefully that communicates. You're rating it on the number of items that it has. Is it simple? Is it just simple? Is it just easy? Is it just fun? Then rate that 1. If it's 2 of them, rate the 2. If it's simple, easy, and fun, rate that 3. So once you do that, it might take a little bit to do that. And what you can consider is if it's a 3, there's a good chance it will be something that happens this week. If it's a 2, what does it look like to add in that third little piece? Is that a possibility? Is it a 1? What does it look like to add in 1 more? So what we're looking is adding some secret sauce to have it be a possibility. So play around with that. And then once you're done there, you want to take this and consider space and time. So where do I need to be physically to do this? What time does it work to do this? And then if you don't know, just pick the one for today and come back. So you don't need to have it all figured out. It's just pick one and then come back. And so where do I physically need to be in space and time, or space physically, and then time. And then the last step to do here is, how can I word this to finish this sentence? Now I am, how would you say, think of the one task that you're picking for today, or whatever you're choosing first, or whatever project task or whatever, look at it and then ask the question, or say the words, now I am ... and then fill in the blank with what you would now be doing. And then work on putting that in existence. And I don't want to say work, you don't need to, there's no have to here. What does it look like to ensure that's in existence? Is it a living log where you write out now I am, which is what I've kind of titled, I've created a TikTok before, my living log. So that's one concept. And then it's the, yeah, you can play around with however you want to do that. Your living log, logging now I am ... and filling in the blank. I'm loving my index cards like I shared. Put into existence what works for you. Let me know if you have questions. Thank you for being here and take care.